Hello, I'm Gareth.
And I'm Shane, and welcome to Building Business Resilience.
This is the podcast from Sanctuary Financial Planning, which helps growth business owners and social media influencers achieve financial independence.
We're two passionate financial planners on a mission to seek out new ideas, tips and tricks to help you take control of your finances and run better businesses.
We delve into the true goals and aspirations of our guests in order to provide you with some real value and positivity.
Nothing outrageous, clear, simple, solid financial solutions. We also have a YouTube series to accompany this, and details will be at the end of the show. So let's move on to our guest.
Welcome back to the Building Business Resilience Show. It's episode 17, and in today's show, we're going to be talking to Rachael Flanagan. Rachel's drive for success has taken her on an award-winning path to create and run a multi-million-pound business throughout South Wales and the west of England. With a go-getter attitude and passionate approach, she is truly an inspiration to everyone that works with her. Rachel started Mrs. Bucket Cleaning Services with just £20 worth of black and white flyers at just 18. Her business employs over 250 staff and is still growing. So without much further ado, we're excited to welcome Rachel onto the show. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Gareth. I'm good.
How are we doing? Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming on and giving your time today.
No problem. I'm looking forward to it. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it should be good. It's pretty relaxed. So how are you? How's lockdown?
Well, I'm now a lot better. I think the beginning of lockdown, the way I described it was it felt like a business car crash. So, initially in shock, a bit of denial, and then kind of going through the stages then of trying to fix everything and get a bit more back to new normality, working with the team, working what the new shape of the business needs to look like for the future. And obviously, day to day, massive curveballs, challenges being thrown at us. So yeah, it's been challenging. I know for some it's completely stopped. For us, we had about 65-70% of our sites that were key premises. So we were active in that. So we had that revenue coming in. But about 30% of our clients, didn't open. So dealing with that from a revenue point of view, and then dealing with increase of demand in the sites that we serve because of obviously, the cleanup with COVID, the process, and the additional requirements that's needed. It's been a full circle, but I honestly think, I'm quite an optimistic person. I think it's been a lot of gifts in COVID, and because we've had to work certain ways, it's given our senior team, it's given us as a business, probably more clarity on how much smarter we can work, how we maybe remotely can run our business for the future more. So it's actually quite exciting now in a cleaning company.
It sounds, I think I used this before in a previous podcast. Do you remember years ago, Brains were doing an ad for the rugby, and they had a pint glass, and it was, is it half full or half empty? It was cardboard. Somebody said on one of our podcasts where I saw before that during this period of time, it hasn't been a glass half full or half empty. It's the glass is refillable. You almost have to be, or it's changeable. You have to be able to almost adapt in the new world to your business, and it doesn't matter what business you're doing. You have to be willing to, go through almost the grief thing that you said there about the denial and all that, and then just basically get your hands dirty and make changes to the business, which might be short term, medium, long, or could even be the new normal going forward. Is there much change or adaptation then, Rich, that you need to do for the new normal?
To be honest with you, we haven't actually stopped any of our projects. We excelled them and we brought them forward. And that was a risk, to be honest, because we had to invest we were agile, so we invested in the sanitisation and the decontamination side of the business. So we then started to work as a South Wales and Bristol commercial business, and then we started then to work over the UK, which obviously brought challenges itself. But then we worked with a chemical that has a 30-day protection on it. So we go into businesses, and in the easiest way of describing it, we blast this chemical and it gives people more peace of mind to safeguard their teams. So that's different. That's brought us a brand new service, a brand new department, and new people in the business as well. And it's given us opportunities. And we had the opportunity of working with Royal Mail. Well, that wouldn't have happened before. And several other larger clients that needed us for those services. But then it's given us, opportunities to look at maybe their contract cleaning and other things. So that was a good lesson there, which we're going to remain that way. And it's also given us, a lesson for the future on how we want to run our business and maybe how more we can work from home as a senior team. We've definitely improved in our meetings. We're faster. We make better decisions. And I thought we were quite on it before, but we seem to kind of get some of the fluff away out of stuff. Obviously we need that human aspect. Of course we do. But for me, I never, ever worked from home. So that's been amazing for me, and with the children and all the other travel time. I worked out that I probably travel about 10 hours a week. So I gain that back. Now that cost to the business is massive, because I can give more to the business or give more to my family and not, and feel like I'm still balancing. So there's been lots of positives. For us, we definitely want to do further expansion. And because of the confidence now that we've had in these times, that will happen sooner because of, what's been going on with COVID. So, on a positive. And then obviously you've got, the down, not so positives as well, where this is a time where you really see who is on your team. Who is in the sports team, who should be centre, who should be goalie, who is the best skill set to be in there. And if they're not, you either need to do a bit of chopping about, or you need to make those business decisions, which aren't great in these times, but it's for the future of the business. So that has really shone a light on that. And I think, because we've been dealing with live and active COVID cleans as well, we've been physically going in and cleaning up places that have had, live cases in. It's also, really made me much more aware of how much of an amazing frontline team that I have got, because without them turning up every day, us, in the office and working from home, like without them, we haven't got a job. So that's been really positive to see that, because everybody's just been, they want to get the job done. They know what part they play as well in the bigger picture of cleaning up and sanitizing those buildings. Yeah, that sounds really positive. I think, I've spoken to a few kind of clients who've kind of felt the same sort of thing, where I think this has given them an element of reflection on their business a bit as well. And I know we found the same, is the ability actually just to go, right, let's jump on a quick Zoom call, let's do a meeting. And it's quite snappy, and you're kind of in there, you're making kind of decisions. And I think we've got a lot more achieved
in this time. Okay, yeah, maybe it is a little bit quieter from the business point of view, but it's given us more time to sit back and go, what positive effects do we need to kind of have on the business? And allowed us to kind of, like, for us, it's like micro actions to kind of change it. But, you know, it's obviously had a big positive effect on the way you look at your business now in what you've kind of done so far.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been good.
It sounds, when you say I've saved 10 hours, that's, you know, at least 20% of a working week. So you can either give family, you know, 20% more of your time, or, you know, when people say, I don't have enough time to put back into the business, you can have that. So freeing up that sort of amount of time on a weekly basis is phenomenal. That'll allow you to make those big decisions, as you say, in work, as you say, the manager of a team making the harsh decisions of, you know, you either step up or, unfortunately, you're substituted, and you need to go, unfortunately, because you're not a team player.
Yeah, no, it's I think, the productivity side, I think quite a few people are seeing that, aren't they, as well? But I also think it's dangerous. There's a line, because, you know, it's kind of like the laptop. It's, you know, lots of people are in front of their laptop all day. We as leaders have just got to be careful with that as well, that we're encouraging the breaks. Otherwise, you know, we're going to have mental health issues, and it's, you know, it's overwhelming. So things like the daily walks, all of that, getting that time back in for yourself. I've always tried to be, you know, open and honest with the team of where I was as well. And the weeks that I wasn't doing my exercise or I wasn't getting my walks in, they were hard weeks, really hard weeks. And now it seems to have more of a balance. The exercise is actually showing up quite a lot. Of how important that is, which is really interesting. But I'll 100% now be more flexible with the guys, that we actually can be more flexible on how they work, because then it's output focused.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of positives going to come from it. I hope that a lot of businesses don't just fall back into the way they kind of always did things, you know, and kind of do take the positives and push that forward for their staff, for themselves and everything. Because it is so easy for us just to all fall back into exactly how we did it when we get back to normal, isn't it? You know? Yeah,
definitely.
I think it's kind of, I want to try and, the commuting thing's been a big thing for me as well. You know, some days I'm in the car an hour and a half, I'm stuck in traffic going to work, you know, and it's such a lot of wasted time. It's stressful as well.
Yeah, it is stressful, especially, like, you know, when you're doing breakfast, 2 kids running out the door, trying to do the crash run, forgot their bloody coat. You get chucked in the blinking rain, and then your hair's a mess, and oh God, all sorts. And then you get in the car, and then you've forgotten their blinking pack lunch. Then you've got to go and run back in, and then that's just before 8:30 in the morning, isn't it?
Oh,
you know?
It's not that late. Only before 8 o'clock.
You're there before the doors are even open, are you?
Oh yeah, he's banging down the door. I think you were this morning, weren't you?
Yeah. He was back for 3 hours today. It was bliss.
Yeah. So, but I do think there will be less of an expectation. Like, just thinking now of my clients, there'll be less of an expectation now to go, oh, Rach, you really need to come here for just half an hour? Should we do a Zoom call? And actually, that might be, in some cases, more productive, because then, you know, obviously you're saving on the travel time. And maybe the client is a little bit more focused with you, rather than thinking, oh, God, I've got to get all this done now in my day. Then I've got to travel back home. So, I think that will make a difference.
Zoom has a positive in terms of it can be very direct. You know, you can get on a call at 4:15 or whatever, and you know you're off that at maybe 4:30. And when you say bye, that's it. Whereas if you're in a meeting room, it is, how are the family and all that. And then when you finish the business side of the chat, then you know, hang about for another 20 minutes or so. And sometimes that can be nice. But as you say, if that happens 2, 3, 4 times a week, and the travel, then you can see where a lot of the hours are built up. But I think we need to get some of that back. Just
yeah, definitely, yeah.
The interaction with people again. This is great, but I think Zoom fatigue is slowly creeping in with a lot of people.
Yes, I think, getting that balance back in. I mean, I am so excited for my gym to open personally, just to go to the gym.
Yes.
And that's the stuff I can't wait. Go and have a coffee on my own. Go and get my hair done on my own. So fingers crossed, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It is fingers crossed. I think also everyone's looking forward to those little bits of time to themselves again, you know?
Yeah.
They also said something along the lines of that, not that you mentioned earlier on, but keeping your laptop and the guys at home with the exercise and all of those little things. Because I know my wife goes out for a chat with her team around the UK and she's on the headphones. But somebody said, don't have the laptop in front of, in an area, if you can, in the house. It mightn't be possible for everyone. That is your recreational area as well. Almost make an office so that you go in there, you work, and then when you come out, you close the door and you do the family stuff or the house stuff. You don't let it intertwine with each other, because all of a sudden then there isn't the cutoff, because you have the laptop there from 8 in the morning till 8 at night, and it's just on the table or wherever it may be. There needs to be a break off point of that's work and that's home.
Yeah. I think, I mean, if people can have a home office, then obviously it does make a difference. But maybe now people will realise how important it is to have a home office. So they may build something in the garden, you know, a little old shed or something. So, yeah.
I think if you look at Facebook and Twitter and all these, people are more concerned about building outdoor pubs in the back garden rather than offices.
I've seen a few of those knocking around. Outdoor pubs. Yeah, brilliant.
What's been the big motivation then for you, Rachael, from day one?
Well, so just to kind of give a little bit about my story. We've got over 250 people now that work with us, and we serve, we carry out commercial cleaning. That's what we do. I sold the domestic arm of the business just under 3 years ago. So that was a really big, I suppose, letting go piece. Because I started in the domestic market. That's how I actually started my business when I was 18. But my biggest drive, and so our vision is to change the perception of the cleaning market. Okay. So what that means to me is, so when I was 18, I had this idea of starting up my own cleaning company. Everyone thought, what the hell are you going to do that for? Why do you want to become a cleaner? Like, really looked down upon. And I felt that personally. And it's like, well, why aren't you going to go to university, go and get a proper job? So I just thought, well, bugger you, I'm going to prove you all wrong. And, other words came out. So for me, that's been really important to spotlight cleaners, because I have felt that they've been overlooked. And if we think about how important it is to have a clean environment, and now hygienically clean, coronavirus has been awful, but it has helped us appreciate workers in ways maybe which we wouldn't have before. Yeah. And so that's been a positive. But for me, it's to change the perception of the cleaning market. So every day I wake up, I'm excited to go to work, to kind of create that legacy and to really create a brand that's remembered, and it's got the right passionate people in the business. Just even down to like how a cleaner engages with our customers is really key, because that customer may have had a really shit day, and actually, in the nicest way, he might not have even put his head up to even recognize the cleaner.
Yeah.
Now, going back into his office, I bet you he'll start to do that more. But actually, from us running a cleaning company and, being chirpy, asking them, is there anything that we can do? Or if if they need us to stay out of their way is really important, that relationship side. So that is my vision, is to change the perception of the cleaning market.
Nice. And on the road to it already.
So you started the business back in 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the age of 18. So tell us about that journey then from the start.
So obviously I'll speed it up as much as I can. So I was 18. I was just about to sit my A-levels. I had absolutely no bloody idea what I wanted to do. All my friends were going to go to university, be a teacher, be a doctor, go and get an apprentice somewhere. And I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was coming home to my parents where I was living at the time, and I saw my mum's cleaner leave early. And I had an idea of actually, if there was somebody managing and doing the cleaning, how many other of my mums are out there stressed, need a cleaner, part of the lifestyle. And that's really where it sort of emerged from. I listened to a guy speak in my business A-levels class, and he came in to share his story. And I was so inspired by him that I just thought, oh my God, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start up my own cleaning company. Everyone else was like, what on earth? You're going to university. I used to swim as well. So that was like a big part of my background and part of like the deal to go to university, which was like ridiculous. And then I failed my business A-levels and had an unclassified, still haven't picked up those papers or the certificate, whatever it is. And I just put all my focus, all my energy into, probably some psychologists would say that's not very healthy, to prove people wrong, because I had so many people, kind of not approving of me being a cleaner. And when I could see past that, I wanted to become a businesswoman. So I started in the domestic market. I literally started the business with 20 quid with black and white flyers, just went flying all the blinking time. Trying to work out, okay, where do these customers hang out? What do they do? And I realised that corner shops, school notice boards, the pigeons, the letterboxes for teachers in schools are really good ways of getting new clients to come on board, because they were usually the most stressed. And they the most longer hours. So I did that, started cleaning. Then that evolved. I was about 21. I had about 20 people working for me at the time. And I had a mentor who kind of really believed in me and really pushed me, and then entered me into some awards. And I was really fortunate to win the UK Young Entrepreneur Award. So had probably my first spotlight of like real PR in what difference, PR can really make to the business. And that's kind of where it escalated then. It started to grow more. Then I started to really learn about, to be honest, business, working on the business, marketing, sales, operations. I built the business like from the bottom up. I used to have this massive, a bullseye in my really run down office. Then I had to put money in the meter and stuff, right? I was skint all the time, and hardly ever had enough money to pay the wages and things, because obviously I was just learning how to even understand cash flow. But every time I'd win a new sale, I'd put the profit on the kind of like the chart on the bullseye ring, and that's when I knew if I needed to get to that level, then that's when I would buy a van. Or I knew I needed to get, say, 100 hours of cleaning, and that's when I'd get a new office or something, and a bookkeeper and all those types of things, and quite a visual goal chart early on. And then I went into the commercial market. And then I started to really learn about marketing. I'm quite passionate about marketing. And then I just kind of started to hunt clients that I really wanted to work with, wanted to try and understand the landscape from a sales point of view as well, because I thought, well, if we're cleaning here, how do we clean opposite? Because then our area managers would be productive. And I really did probably it in a very different approach to what a lot of our competition do, which are national. They spread themselves too thin. They have an account manager that's based in Birmingham that covers West Wales as well, because that's one contract down there that comes on your patch, sorry. But what I tried to do was try to grow from within the communities, and really understand what is that portfolio. For example, like South Wales, there's lots of different areas, and then grow those and market. Quite old school, to be honest, direct mail, door knocking, sort of American-y marketing as well, just to grab people's attention. And then I started to build more of a stronger management team then, and really putting in those processes, the systems. I've always invested in myself and the way. So I've learned from other people that are ahead of me, because obviously I was so young. I needed to have like fast track as well. And now, I've got a senior management team in the business now. I actually oversee our sales division in the business, but our operations is run by our operations director and so on, and our accounts. So, I mean, these are the easy days. These are the easy days compared to back then. 70 hours of working every week, getting up in the morning at 4 or 5 o'clock to work on my business, then go and actually physically clean, then go and do the quotes, then try and do my books. Oh God, it was hard work, really hard. Startup businesses is hard.
Yeah.
If this was easy, nobody would do it. They'd just be employed, wouldn't they?
Well, that's why there's a certain percentage, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because it's like going to war sometimes, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And, and I've come across I know we talked before, there's been mentors and coaches and things, but I remember coming across a mentor through Welsh Government, and they worked all their career as a civil servant. Now, coming in telling people how to run a business when they've never been to the coalface, and done those long nights and had those stressful days where they've had to submit their VAT return. There's kind of it's a different mindset, isn't it?
It's hard. I mean, I remember so many times sitting on the edge of my bed, like crying, thinking, how am I going to pay those wages? What am I going to say to, my team? And they were the really early days, but actually they were really good lessons for me, because now I'm bloody obsessed by, our cash in the bank, cash is king, and all those, important KPIs. Because it can quite quickly go away as well. So yes. Yeah,
I think that's some of the lessons people will learn in the middle of kind of coronavirus now, is that like you just said, cash is king. If you run your business very slim, when something like this happens, that's where you're going to struggle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, and I mean for us, we've invested, 5 figures in the business now in COVID, and quite a sizable chunk. And to other people, that would have been the first thing to stop. Gosh, don't go ahead with the brand refresh. Don't go ahead with your new website. Don't go ahead with, buying new kits and, getting new vehicles and, all of that sort of stuff. But I knew that was worth the risk, because, we were focusing on, cleaning up coronavirus at the end of the day. And if anything, we can look back in this time and know that we've played a part in that.
I presume you have to be willing as a business owner to step back and take that risk. You just mentioned it there, where others may not, and they may sit on the fence and decide it's not for me. Let's just be very conservative and ride the storm out. Whereas, I suppose, as you use the example, I'm going to use the word proper business owner, but one that has been there for many, many years, sat at the edge of the bed, cried, gone through all those experiences, have all of those memories in the past. You know that to be more successful during a downturn, you have to invest to prosper even more or even quicker.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think a crisis can teach us many things, you know.
Yeah. Well, you started off domestic cleaning. Was going into commercial a conscious decision at an early stage?
No, it was. We've been doing commercial cleaning. Well, like I said, we've sold we sold the domestic business 3 years ago, and that actually gave us about a 30% capacity in our core team. So that's been really good for us, because, you know, time back, because, well, sometimes you can never put a number on time, you know, a monetary number, but what it gives you in return now, you know, it was a good move to do that. And actually that's something that I wish I had done sooner, because we were ready to do that, you know, years prior. We were too big, really, doing domestic. We were too big. We had about 300 homes that we were cleaning on a weekly basis. I mean, it's hard work, that is. You know, There's only so many house cats that you can leave in the house. Sometimes they do get out of the house. When you're dealing with employable people, there's loads of stories that goes on with 300 people every week that you've got to service them for a couple of hours. And keeping an eye on everybody and making sure it's all running. So that was much more challenging than commercial. Commercial is less emotional for clients as well. It's more B2B. So we can kind of have more of a mobilization plan with the clients and have really clear expectations of what we're going to do to that site to improve. But we got into commercial cleaning we were cleaning for someone's home and they were let down, and he was a director and he said, you know, you want to come and clean our office. And that's what I did then. So in the day I'd go cleaning, I'd go and do my quotes, and then I'd actually go and clean the office then. And then I'd work side by side with the cleaners until I felt that they were trained to the standard. And then I'd move on then to the next job. And that's kind of how I did it. Whereas now we employ someone all the time to do that, you know, to do training and take on new projects, new sites. But that's how I started to go into the commercial market. And then I started to spot a trend in really random but car park sizes and how many cars were in car parks. So I knew that my sweet spot was over about 30 cars in a car park would warrant a commercial cleaner. So then I used to go driving around and then drop in like really cool, funky, lumpy mail to grab their attention and get over the receptionist. And then I'd go in then to try and speak to the decision makers behind the scenes. So I did it, you know, quite physically every Friday. That would be my day to go driving around car parks. Whereas like now, obviously, there's quicker ways of doing that. Thank God for Google Maps. So yeah.
It's gone back to doing the old school ways, isn't it? Just the hard work. There hasn't been an easy journey. It's been bloody hard work, you know, for many, many years. You touched on something earlier, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but one of the themes that we chat about on a regular basis on this is mental toughness or mental resilience. And that how do you cope now as someone at the top of the pyramid who has all the senior management and staff down below them? How do you cope with the bad days, and how do you keep a brave face? Because like all of us in business, it's not always a good day. There are going to be bad days. How do you cope with that bad day, or how do you park that bad day and move on and keep a smiley face?
So obviously in COVID, it's been totally challenging, like a roller coaster. I mean, in my normal type of working week, to be honest with you, I am quite a structured person. I mean, that's from years of failing, though, don't get me wrong. But I know, I call it like my rhythm. I know when like I'm in rhythm, things happen, things flow better. Exercise and putting myself first is key. I always find that if I don't do that, like mental health, your head gets full of loads of like stones. Yeah. And when I actually want to be focusing on the boulders for the business. So that's something that's key in my diary. Obviously, really good child care and support there. And having time, time with the children as well, because I've been part of mastermind groups and women's groups and, all different types of groups. And, I've sat around tables and I've watched, unfortunately, like 50-year-old men and women cry because they wish they'd given more time to when their children were young. And actually watching and learning that, like in my late 20s, early 30s, was another good lesson. And we've all experienced that ourselves. We've all gone through crisis of what it's like, marriages breaking down and families being, pulled apart and stuff. So I think for me, having space in my personal life and my professional life is actually really important, because then I feel then that I'm not too full. When they say like your cup's full, every time I get to, my cup's nearly full, it's always to do with space. Every single time. The core is I am got enough space in my diary, I am got enough space in my personal life, and I am got enough space, say, with the children and the family and my husband. So I just always try and go back to that. Now, obviously, I call her my diary keeper. She's in charge of the diary. And that was like an amazing thing. After I had my second, I learned all this on my first, because I went to work way, way too early and I had to, but it made me ill. So when I had my second baby, I just thought, right, what bloody hell am I not going to do now? Because I can't make this mistake again, because otherwise I'll be blinking gone. So I got Michelle, who looks after my diary and all of my admin, so I can be really focused with people and with clients, because that's kind of where I'm best at. And that's made a real difference to me. And just little things, to be honest. And to some people, this may sound really extreme, but just a good babysitter and putting the blinking date in my diary for me and my husband to go out and actually, we leave our phones behind. I mean, we've learned this from years of not being great and all of that as well. But I think for me, I always want to try and improve and be better and learn and not hold on to things. So I think a lot of it is also to do with your personal life, and really having that space to also have downtime and fun, because then that, people take you less seriously. And if I'm having a bad day, I blink and say I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
I've left work on some days where I've thought, oh, bugger this, I'm going home.
COVID almost sounds like it was a silver lining to you, that you've got these extra 10 hours and now you've got more space. So you can devote a bit more time to work, a bit more time to family, a bit more time to yourself. So there's almost been a big positive that's come out of all of this as well.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the case for lots of people, or where they know where they need to improve, isn't it? Yeah. Because that's the biggest risk in all of this, is people revert back to what it was like before, and if they were only just managing then. And people don't want to just only manage now. I think people value more out of their life, like the simple things. But to do that, most of the time you've got to work smarter to achieve that.
The simple things, though, are something that I think a lot of people will respect more. Gareth doesn't want me going on about, but I injured myself playing football just before lockdown, so I've been housebound for months now. And it was only when I was out of my crutches that you'd actually start talking to neighbours, and then they start realising that the birds are actually singing in the trees in the nice weather. And in the past, that was all down to, I got to just go out and walk the dog, and that's a chore. Whereas just going out for a walk in your local area and just observing things, we're like, wow, I've never noticed that before. So the little things in life, I think a lot of people now have a lot more respect for. And no matter how much money you've had over the last few months, it couldn't buy you a lot of these things now. Money is worthless, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And thank goodness. I mean, in Wales, we've had great weather as well most of the time.
Oh yeah, that you know, I think that's been the biggest lucky part of that as well. You know, how long we had a good 12, 13 weeks of good weather.
Yeah.
God, imagine if it was chucking it down with rain. We won't even think about that.
No.
I was going to ask something about how do you balance working life and family life? But you've probably answered a lot of that. But is there any nuggets of information you can give to people to help them, you know, manage the two very important areas of the business person plus the wife and mother?
For me, so something that I do is I plan my holidays in advance for the year. So I always put that into my diary first. So I own my diary, not my diary owns me. Okay. And that's quite exciting then, because it's like, oh, well, we haven't booked that holiday, or you know, you don't always have to go on holiday, but you can take some time off, and it's really positive to do that as well. And I think business owners don't do that enough, but actually I've just found that I achieve more. So that's something that I do. And like I said, I kind of, you know, I do put things in my diary. I like to be organised. It might not be everybody's thing, but for me, it works. And if I don't put those things in, you know, going out for an evening or something, it's just all the little things, isn't it? It does make a difference, but you need a good babysitter.
Is that go back to the little things of almost having the mental health and the rewarding yourself with the happiness of you're going out for a night in 2 weeks, two weeks Friday, or you're getting your hair cut next Thursday afternoon, or you're going to have a pampering session and a gym session. That it's all almost the little rewards for yourself. After having a long week or a long couple of weeks in work.
Yeah, definitely. Just kind of, you know, helping to switch off as well.
Yeah. Highs and lows in how many years are you doing it now?
15.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. So my highs, to be honest, like some of my actual real highs were like the funny times when I was cleaning. Like I could bloody write a book on all of the stories, mind. So yeah, there was lots of highs. And again, the little things, but the funny things, like all the, you know, I remember one time coming in to one of my customers, they were head teachers, no names, of course. and they must have come for a afternoon little session in the bedroom, and they didn't realise that the cleaners were coming, and I had walked in on them. So that was something, obviously, in my 20s that I was like, okay, well, that was an experience, right? We'll note that for next time. All the little things, like I used to have like a little group of the oldies, and I used to take them out. I used to have a little guy that he was blind, bless him, but I used to like clean his little flat, but he used to pay me for like 2 or 3 hours, but it only used to take like 45 minutes to clean his flat because it was only him and like a little one. So I used to sit down with him, or, you know, have a chat and make him coffees or a little ham sandwich and spoil him in that way. And actually probably that was one of my lows, because he didn't have a family. And I think I must have been about 22. So this was years ago. This was like 12 years ago. And I still think about him a lot. But then I found him. I found him dead. Oh. And he had passed away. And that was like a really big thing for me, because I never had seen anybody that had passed away. And, you know, I had to deal with all of that as well because he didn't have the family. So that was actually quite a big life lesson without realizing it at the time. But when I look back now, I was like, whoa, that like really made you mature and step up there. And so I've had like really funny times, and then the challenging times, cash flow. Oh God, all those first years, cash flow. I mean, we haven't invested. We don't have an investor. We don't have anything like that. It was self-grown, but that's actually, it's been challenging because of that. Like sometimes I wish I did have investment, but I couldn't get investment at the time because I was, this was 15 years ago, and I suppose I didn't even know it existed, and I didn't have, anything that I could sell then. But yeah, it's highs and lows all the time, but in general, it's always like a roller coaster, isn't it, when you look back? But those early days, they are the funny days where I was certainly just winging half of it as well.
Were the early days almost more, in a nice way, more enjoyable or more highs than now? Almost getting your first, X amount of clients, getting your first commercial deal, deciding to go out and splash some money on something to say, I've achieved this, I've got a nice car, I've bought a nice watch, or to hell with this. Almost the highs earlier on in your career, because they were almost milestones, and you didn't have all the baggage of all the staff and all the worry and all that. You just go, I've got a contract, I'm going to treat myself. Was it more enjoyable almost back then with those type of highs, or different highs would they be?
I mean, very different highs, to be honest. I mean, this is pre-kids, so, obviously no responsibilities. I wanted to get a house. That was my goal. So I was always quite independent. So that was my first goal, was to buy a house. I went through the whole thing of, I'm going to get this car. My husband was in the army as well. So I remember coming back to Devon, and I bought a new, what they call the convertible car. I haven't got a convertible now, but I was like 23 or something. And I remember like driving to Devon thinking, right, I'm going to drive to Devon with my convertible, my roof down. Brilliant. I've had such a hard week. I deserve this. And then I got on the motorway and I was thinking, shit, how do I put this bloody thing back up? It's freezing. And I hated it in the end because I couldn't get a blinking Hoover in the back either. And it was just not practical. But I think it was just funny, like some of those stories that I had to do. And I suppose learning what did I actually appreciate and maybe what did I not. But they were funny days, and I've always invested in myself, like I said, and I've gone on. I did masterminds with other women, and we went to like Marrakesh on these really great trips to learn about business, and those were times which were really good as well. And I still do things like that now, but not maybe what it was before. But yeah, it was good. It was fun times.
Perfect.
That's good. So what's next for Rachel and Mrs. Bucket?
Oh, right. What's next? We are we're going through a whole kind of like, brand refresh. So we're going to be launching that soon over the next couple of months with a new website and changing all of that in the business. So we've really pushed ahead on that. So that's been a big project on that, because obviously, we've got over 20 vehicles on the road, nearly 300 staff now. So it's not just like, let's buy a new sign for the office and here's a new logo. We've gone through the whole, real positioning ourselves for the future. We want to expand into the FM market. And we're definitely looking at pushing more into Bristol and other areas. We do serve those areas now, but we'd like to do more on the ground approach. So we're putting together growth plans for that. So our plans are to grow the business to about 8 to 9 million over the next 3 years, and hopefully open up another depot somewhere as well. So we're looking at what areas that is, whether it's Manchester, whether it's Birmingham, we don't quite know yet, but we're quite hopeful on that, and just keeping on doing what we're doing, and what works, doing more of it. That's what we're looking at, but the acquisitions is a big area for us now as well.
Yeah, no, that's good. So it's watch this space then.
Yeah, watch this space. Yeah.
Having a drive, a determination, an ability to work hard, and a clear vision, and over time you can achieve anything.
Yes, and I think that is what people maybe perceive business owners to be, is, oh, it's great, oh, it'll take a year. No, it doesn't. It's 15 years and I'm still absolutely hammering it. And there's always something more, and that's dangerous sometimes as well. But, I love it.
I was just going to say, as much as you're hammering it, as long as you enjoy it and still like doing it, it's not really hammering it. You're just doing something you enjoy.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. I think the day you stop enjoying doing something is the day you've got to really sit back and go, should I still be doing this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned that a long time ago. There we go.
Good.
Superb. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Rachel. It's been a really, really enjoyable.
Thank you, guys.
Rachel, thank you very much. What a great chat and some great takeaways from the episode. Head over to our website, www.sanfp.co.uk, to learn more about us and our journey. That's it for this episode. Next, we're talking to the Million Kilo Man and all things world records, cystic fibrosis, and overcoming adversity. It's Josh Llewellyn-Jones. You can hear that wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, don't forget to click subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they arrive. Don't forget to listen to our new Chats at the Bar, a series every Tuesday for short insights into business, money, finance, aspirations, dreams, and planning. Also, if you're enjoying the series, please do leave us some feedback with a quick review, as this helps us grow and ensure we're giving our audience the best experience. Until next time, thanks very much for listening.